everyone loves TV Dad.
On the next TV Dad, presented by Progressive, TV Dad gets us through heartache.
Chin up, sport.
Oh, hey, TV Dad.
You know what heals all wounds?
Time?
No, it's remembering that drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds.
But Jen still doesn't want to be with me.
True. I actually saw her with your friend Brian earlier.
Wait, what?
Listen to your TV Dad. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Potential savings will vary.
The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
This is John Silver, lead recruiter of the Dark Order, and you are listening to All Things Elite.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 187th episode of Social Suplex's podcast about AEW with a proclivity for positivity. Welcome to All Things Elite. My name is Austin Sumwitz. I am the host of this lovely show. Joining with me, as always, is my good buddy and friend who is back home from LA, my friend Floyd Johnson Jr. How are you doing, man? I know it's been a journey.
So, man, you want to talk about emotional ups and downs. Thursday to Thursday, like last Thursday to this Thursday, has been the most emotionally up and down I'd ever been. The last time we recorded was last Wednesday. So last Thursday, I got to went to the FTR live show, and you go to the show and they see you and they wave at you. It's like, Cash points at me in the crowd. And, I'm there with JR. We're having a good time. We're meeting all these FTR fans, these beautiful, smart, they got great taste FTR fans, right? So we get to hear from Wardlow, Sean Spears, Big Will Hobbs, stuff we didn't know about any of these people. And we got to watch the show, and just Cash's and Dax's brother dynamic is just amazing. I'm like, I don't see two more people that aren't related to each other that are more like brothers than those two men. So that was it. Then Security Sam was there, just chilling. And we got to talk to him, just catch up with him for a while. And it was a good night. And then after the show, they said, hey, the VIPs, which apparently everybody there bought the VIP. And we got to party with them. We got to go down. They had tequila and we had shots, and 6 people on Dax's show before. He's like, hey, he's like, Fortaleza a nail. He's like, dude, this is my favorite tequila. If you can find it in California, bring it to me. Man, that man should know better than that. There was 7 bottles. 7 different people bought bottles of this liquor, including me. So this dude's got a truck full of liquor. So he literally just pops one open and starts pouring out glasses of it because he's there for a week, but he has 7 full liquor containers. So that was pretty awesome. We all drank.
Oh, he knew what he was doing. What he was doing.
Yeah, he put out a call to arms to his most passionate fans, and we all delivered. And if you go at Floyd Johnson Jr., and I believe that I retweeted her from the at All Things Elite page, you'll see the pictures. Me, JR, we got our 4 picture with FTR, and then we all drank and did a toast, and they got good pictures of that. And it was a fun time. I will tell you, if you're a fan of FTR and you're a fan of live shows, this is probably one of the best ones I ever went to. Definitely worth the money. Yeah, it was just a good times vibe. No big timing. Sean Spears was in a good mood. Everybody was in a good mood. Wardlow, I think, didn't eat a lot because he said, "I'm just starting drinking now," and I wouldn't. He was pretty drunk. So I think it was like, hey, maybe he didn't eat a lot of food or whatever. And he doesn't have any fat to soak it up. That's just all muscle. So that was cool, and we had a good time. Thursday, amazing. Friday, WrestleCon. I ended up buying the Superfan because I needed to get in an hour early so I could go pick up Tiffany. Boom. Go to WrestleCon, meet Ricky Starks, Evil Uno. I think I knocked out and had a really, really good time. Got an autograph from Evil Uno. Good time. Went and picked up Tiffany. Went and had some lunch at this Mexican place that was like right around the corner from a hotel. Perfect spot. Had like a grocery store, a CVS, and like 8 restaurants all within walking distance of the hotel. So it was just like very good place to be. And it was called the MDR Doubletree in Marina Del Rey. I don't know a lot of people. If you're going to California and you're driving, it's a fairly cheaper hotel, but it's not far away from anything. It was like only like 5 miles away from the stadium driving or whatever. So I wanted to give them a shout out because it was a nice hotel and it was just so located. Like I needed a charging cord. CVS was right there. We went and got our energy drinks there. Just staying in that hotel saved us money. But yeah, we were able to check in right on time. I was like, dude, we're not able to check in about 10 minutes. We need to figure out what we got to do. So as soon as I said that, they checked us in. Everybody was able to get their shower, drop Tiffany down at the Superstore. We went to the Supercard of Honor, which last time we previewed. The review was pretty much, it was a really good show. Katsuyori Shibata beat and pinned Wheeler Yuta to become the new Pure Championship. So that was interesting. Then we got the new Tag Team Champions in the ladder match, which was the Lucha Bros. And unfortunately, in the ladder match, we lost Dante Martin to a broken leg, or apparently his leg was facing the wrong direction. I am not one of those people that go back and watch that kind of stuff, right? Especially when it comes to wrestling, especially when it comes to like the wrestlers I like. But apparently he's going to be out for a very long time. My thoughts are with Dante because him and his brother, Top Flight, seem like the future of tag team wrestling. But they're the most snake-bitten team in tag team wrestling. One is unfortunately always getting hurt. It is not their fault. It was a complicated spot. It's wrestling. Stuff happens. But congrats to Lucha Bros. Mark Briscoe came out and hugged the Lucha Bros after the match. Mark Briscoe he lost to Samoa Joe earlier in the night. And in the main event, Claudio was able to beat and pin Eddie Kingston. And that's how the show went off the air. I thought it was a solid show. Gave it like an A or whatever. I really did. Thought it was a good show. Some people like best show this weekend. I reserved that for the next night, which was WrestleMania Night 1. I thought just a killer show from the beginning to the end. We got Rhea Ripley becoming your new SmackDown Women's Champion. And then we had KO and Sammy ending the Usos' long tag team reign.
My boys!
Very, very good night. Usos. Now the Sammy people. Y'all can be quiet now. It's okay. He main evented WrestleMania and he won. And apparently the alternative you wouldn't have liked. So
seriously. I take my Sami Zayn winning while showcasing the PWG and Super Dragon icons on his gear. I take that and I run away and I hold on to it with a warm heart and knowing that I could have had something much worse.
Yes, me and Tiffany was geared up. Did you see the gear, the swag?
Oh, yeah.
The shoes, the shoes,
I saw everything.
The socks, the jacket. I mean, we was Cody'd out. We was Cody'd out
like it was the 4th of July.
Dude, Cody was in our pockets deep. And so we get there, And I really want, I'm not going to go on along about this. But we get there, right? And we get to the Superstore on Thursday, right? They have 12 racks of the Finish the Story shirt, right? 12 racks. And while we were there was a lady bringing out more Finish the Story shirts, right? Then there was another 4 or 5 racks of just the Cody jacket, right? So we go back, and me and JR are going everywhere. And we make the joke that the Cody hooded jacket was the official jacket of WrestleMania weekend. You literally did not go to a wrestling place where somebody wasn't wearing that jacket. We were at WrestleCon. We were everywhere. You couldn't look left. You couldn't look right at WrestleMania without somebody wearing that jacket. So Sunday, we go back up to the Superstore. Down to literally 2 racks of the Finish the Story shirt. Down to no jackets are completely sold out, right? All the WrestleMania I was there shirts were completely sold out. So, again, we thinking this is record breaking. As Cody fans, we were like, oh, here we go. He literally outsold everyone there. We know it because we saw it. We were in there when the stuff was there. His belt plates, the side plates, sold out. 8x10s that he had signed for different shows sold out. Everything Cody was gone. Teddy bears, everything Cody was gone. So we were like, oh, okay, maybe, this is the sign. I mean, literally, he's the number 1 selling person at WrestleMania. We were trying to think along the lines of wrestling and money. It makes sense. So,
and just, logic. So I had decided on the show, I made it, just post about it on Facebook. My Facebook's not really public, but I made a post back Facebook about how for this match, I was going back to being 12. I was like, that might even be a little old for some people when it comes to WrestleManias, or 14 or whatever I was at that time that Shawn Michaels fought Bret Hart. Because that was the last time that a result of a wrestling match meant that much to me. Like, I have been through the media and the coverage and the tell-alls and all that kind of stuff. You know too much about wrestling, right? So getting lost in it gets harder and harder as you get older. But I made a choice that I wasn't going to read anything. I wasn't going to listen to anything. I was going to go to this show and root as a true fan, as like the little kid in me, for Cody to win. And we go through WrestleMania Night 2. Some people enjoyed it. Some people didn't. I actually thought, even before the main event, I thought it was kind of a just there WrestleMania, right? And we get to the main event. Cody comes out, just his regular music, but he comes up from under the ground, which he does, and he has the smoke, and oh my God, there's this jacket, and then there's like a hole in the jacket where the belt's supposed to go. You know what I mean? Like, you can see his stomach there. And it's like, instead of the closed robe like a normal person does, he kind of had the hole there. That's where the belt goes, right? And I'm like, man, this is great. And the crowd is going fucking nuts. You watched it, right? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, crowd going fucking nuts. And they want this, right? So Roman comes out, and they got the 3 pianos and blah, blah, blah. Now, try not to read anything into it. But that fucking entrance and how it was built, I was like, God damn, he got the champion's entrance. Like, that's not the entrance of somebody that's about to lose. And that was what went through my head, but I put it out my head. It's like, dude, you know what we're trying to do here. We're trying to get lost in the moment. So I watched the match, and they tell a great story. They really do tell a great physical story of Roman trying all these things and Cody getting out of them and having a plan for it and everything. And then we get to the end. And Cody had already hit the crossroads. Roman had already hit the spear and tried to choke him out. And Cody had gotten into it. Cody gets Roman. Sammy KO comes out saying, take out the Usos. Solo Sikoa was thrown out earlier in the night. Cody picks up Roman. He hits the first crossroads. So, no. Like, he gets in crossroads position. at this point, I start recording Tiffany. Because as much as I love Cody, as much as he's my favorite singles wrestler in the world, there are no person that deserved a reaction recorded in that moment more than my friend Tiffany. So I started recording her. I was watching the match, but recording her reaction, right? So he pulls him up, and he hits the first crossroads. He pulls him up, hits the second crossroads. Oh my God, she's kind of going crazy. She doesn't even know I'm recording her, right? And I'm like, so he's going for the third crossroads, which I think is about to be the end of the match. Paul Heyman jumps up on the corner. Cody, being the stupid face that he is, for some reason decides to make that stop doing his move. And then he gets pushed into the corner. And who's there waiting? Someone in a hoodie jumps up and Solo Sikoa, and he hits him with the spike. Roman bounces off the first ropes, bounces off the second ropes, spears him. I was like, oh, okay, Cody's about to kick out. And it goes 1, 2, 3. My hand drops. My mouth drops and opens. And all I can think is, wow, they really did that. And I say think because I did not talk to Austin. I didn't answer the phone for anyone. Austin even tried to call me, which I know how much of a sacrifice that is for a young person to actually call someone. And that's not lost on me. 'Cause it meant a lot. But I'm like, so you know me. I am very loquacious. That's a nice way of saying I talk too damn much. I didn't speak for 45 minutes. To the point, just nothing out of my mouth. The first thing I said as we were waiting is I had to call somebody that was riding with us to make sure they were coming. And those were the first words I spoke. Then once we got in the car, we drove, and I didn't say a word. Just utter shock.
I texted JR actually, and he said, I've been at funerals more positive than this.
Yeah. And we didn't say a word. And then I'm driving, right? So I am not allowed to be in my full emotional state because I have to drive and make sure my friends get home safely, right? So I think the music, something came on, and I'm like sitting at a stoplight, and I'm like, and again, forgive me. I am going to let you know. I know I'm a grown man, and I know this is a scripted sport, but I'm about to cry at this point. And I was like, I literally start talking to everyone in the room because if I started crying, I wouldn't be able to see to drive. So I just started talking. I just started like talking. Like it was almost like fruit salad. Like I didn't even know what I was talking about. I was talking to distract myself from how I really felt. And then, yeah, we dropped her off, went and got some IHOP. I probably ate more in that plate than I've probably eaten in the last week. Like, I was like just destroying it. And yeah, we started talking a little bit more. And yeah, I was in shock for the next 24 to 36 hours. Just like, I didn't want to talk to no one. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And then it hit me, like sometimes when I was talking, I was like, as I told my friend Jason when I finally talked to him sometime the next day, it was later on in the day, I didn't want to do, I'm an emotional person. I didn't want to do what I do. And that's like, I get caught up in emotion. I'm like, I'm never going to a WWE event again. I'm never doing this, never doing this. And I say all this stuff, and we know it's not true. You know what I mean? It's just not. I didn't want to call into that. So I was trying to really like let myself go. But the problem was I have this ritual after something doesn't go my way, whether it's Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl, Florida State losing the game, whatever it is. My wife and I have this ritual where I'm allowed to come in my room, shut my door, scream, yell, lock the door, cuss or whatever, and really decompress from the moment, right? Well, I am with Tiffany and I'm with JR and we're in a 2-bed hotel. So guess what I wasn't allowed to do. So I sleep very little, and I'm just ready to go home. And I'm really sad the next day, and I was not the best version of myself. But, when we got to the plane, got Tiffany, I was getting on the plane, Tiffany was on the plane, and, I got on the plane, and I played some music, and I kind of decompressed a little bit there. But when I got home, I was able to just get in my room and get depressed. But, Cody lost. And I had many different tweets that I thought about, but my heart was broken. And it's still to a point, still kind of broken. You know what I mean? To the point. And it was just my biggest thing, and I will stop after this because I told Austin I didn't want to go on for an hour about this, is that I was mad that Cody lost. I want to say that first so people don't think I'm going to skip over that. I am mad that Cody lost. That my favorite wrestler lost the main event of WrestleMania. That is first. But the thing that actually angers me the most is that I am an AEW guy. I go to AEW shows. We do an AEW podcast. AEW tells stories and does professional wrestling in a way that I like. I allowed myself to get manipulated and brought back in by the WWE. Thinking Triple H is in charge, he's calling the shots, this is going to be different. There is no way Triple H's first WrestleMania calling a shot that he's going to do a screwy or a heel finish. He's going to want the moment. He's going to he's going to put his hat in the Cody ring and move on from there, right? And then they went with the screwy finish. And like I said, I'm not mad at WWE. I'm mad at me. That's my biggest disappointment, is because I did allow myself to get sucked in again. I do love feeling. I love the feelings and the raw emotions that wrestling still brings out of me. It's my favorite form of entertainment. So I do love all of that. But that night, it just didn't make sense. And I could go on with the many different things I heard on the internet. Understand, if anybody wants to argue with me that it should have happened, at Floyd Johnson Jr. on Twitter, I'll turn on my DMs and we can have a one-on-one conversation. Because I don't want to have this in the public, a conversation, because everybody's going to be like, you're just mad your guy lost. Hell yeah, I'm mad my guy lost. I'm mad my guy lost and it didn't make sense. When Cody lost to Chris Jericho at Full Gear, when I made the trip there, and he put the fact that he wasn't going to fight for the title again, I thought there was a 2% chance that Cody was going to win. But it made the most sense that Cody lost. I got that, right? When he lost, wasn't happy, but it kind of made sense because he was kind of the booker at the time, and he didn't want to book himself as a world champion. I get that. And Cody didn't want him to be world champion. I get all that. And so I went away with man, I just got to see Cody Rhodes wrestle for the AEW title, probably his only time wrestling for the title. Sunday, I came away with, man, they got me. I didn't come away upset that Cody lost. I didn't come away hating Roman Reigns. I came in oh, they got me for my money. And I just felt stupid. I didn't feel man, I can't wait to pay for the next show. I'd be man, I never want to come to this show again. So that's how I felt. I know some people that heard this show and knew what I was doing probably wanted to feel that way because I sent out a lot of cuss words and tweets and Facebook posts. And I'll tell anybody, I was never oh my God, I can't live sad. I was upset and I was living in the moment. So that was full on kayfabe reactions to use a lack of a better term. That's honestly a lack of a better term. That was that was me living in the fantasy world reaction to it. I was ultimately okay because shit, I have, as I said, I have a pretty fucking dope life. I met 20 wrestlers over the weekend, including El Hijo de Vikingo and Brandy. I saw Brandy, got my Brandy figure signed, got my Sean Spears, met Sean Spears, did the 10 with Sean Spears twice, Ricky Starks, just a bunch of cool people. You know, I had a really good time. Got to see Simon, got to see James, all my people from the UK. Amazing weekend up until Sunday night. So that's it. That was my WrestleMania weekend. I will be in Philadelphia. I like everybody's like, what? No, I'll be in Philadelphia for WrestleCon. I had a goal when I went to WrestleMania 20, and I know, 19 years ago, I set a goal that I would be at 20. After I went to 20, that I would be at 30, 40, and 50, no matter what. So when I say I'm going, that's a personal goal for me, not anything to do with the WWE product or how good or bad it is. It was a personal goal for me I set a long time ago. And I ain't letting nothing break that other than Endeavor coming in and charging like $22,000 to sit on the roof. So there you go.
Yep. There you go. And then I'll just add a couple things just myself just to put a little bow on this whole Cody WrestleMania stuff. I will just pose a question. If you know that your company is about to go through a sale, a merger, whatever you want to call through it, and as much as you know what Hunter said on the Raw after Mania, where they ain't going anywhere. Okay, well, let me tell you this: things probably are going to change. Maybe not necessarily immediately for the viewing audience, but it could very well change for talent, and it could change on the way that they do business. And then don't think that doesn't mean that things could not and probably will change in the coming years of the product. So with that in mind, because it literally happened the day after WrestleMania, and there's a lot of uncertainty with this whole idea, wouldn't you want the last WrestleMania under sole ownership of the man who started this place, the man that made sports entertainment as big as it is? Wouldn't you want that to be a feel-good moment? Just to kind of keep people at ease a little bit? Just to kind of keep things a little bit more like, hey, it's all right. Things are still going to be all right because we just got an awesome WrestleMania. We're going to come out of this and we're going to get some good wrestling, some good product, and we'll deal with whatever the business side of things do with Endeavor or whatever the case may be. Maybe that's a good idea. Guess not. No, let's just have Brock Lesnar beat the shit out of him the next night. And y'all who thought you were getting a tag match, fuck you, I guess. But no, you cannot tell me that was the right decision, because the only excuse I've ever heard people say was that it wasn't the right time. Then motherfucker, when was? When is the right time? I need a date and I need a moment. When is the time? You can't give me a time. You know why you can't give me a time? Because that was it. That was your time. That was your moment. That was Mom Spaghetti. One shot, one opportunity. And you fucked it. You fumbled the bag. That was the first thing I said. The moment I saw that finish. Because there's nothing left. There's nothing left you can do that is going to reach that height. You had Roman kick out of a stunner, a haluva kick, and he didn't die after 2 crossroads. You've made him invincible. There's nowhere we can go. And even if you try to go around with the Cody thing and try to reverse engineer everything in revisionist history, it's not going to be the same. It just won't. And that's on you. That's on you. And all I got to say is I know a lot of WWE fans have really been enjoying themselves for the past, I want to say 6-7 months or so, when the idea of Vince being gone and everything like that was honestly a reality. I feel for those of y'all who feel like now you've been hoodwinked and you've just been kind of, led astray and now we're back to the same old shit. I feel for you. I honestly do. I genuinely do, because, hey, I hope y'all had fun. But this company doesn't learn. It just doesn't. It just does not learn. And I don't want to dog on it as much as they do, as we have. And that's maybe more so my side than Floyd's. Me dogging on the company itself. But night 1 of WrestleMania, y'all who saw that, still got a really great night of wrestling. can't take away night one of WrestleMania. I can promise you that still at least takes a show that would have been a C for me to at least a B, honestly. I will say for me. But anyways, this is an AEW podcast, and we were coming out of this horrific WrestleMania weekend, and we were like, Tony's doing some shit to kind of put a stake in the ground. And did he ever do some shit? A lot has happened since WrestleMania for AEW, and they went and did a bunch. So we got to get into a lot of it, and we're going to speed through a lot of it too, mostly just the smaller matches and stuff like that. But again, make sure you guys download this show on Google or Apple Podcasts and share us if you listen to us on Spotify or wherever you listen to us. Share us around with your friends, family, coworkers, whoever you wish, and you can also leave a rating and a review. You can follow us on Twitter at ATElitePod, at Social Suplex. Make this show possible. Check out all the other shows they have on their network. I am at Austin Szumowicz, SZUMOWICZ. Floyd is at Floyd Johnson Jr. on Twitter. Now, there was a lot of news this week. A lot. But I think it's fair to say that the biggest news of the week is what was announced for this upcoming August, late August 27th. It had been rumored for months that AEW was getting closer and closer to making their debut overseas, across the pond, in London, England, in the UK, just somewhere in the UK. And it was confirmed this night because Tony had a major announcement. And the major announcement was that AEW was going to be in London. And the way that they sold this was that they said back in 2018, Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks put on All In, the biggest independent wrestling show of all time. 5 years later, we're doing All In again, but this time it's going to be in London, England. And the thing that we caught, honestly, as this was going on, All In was a statement. The original All In was a statement. You can't do a 10,000 plus venue with the people that you have. You can't book that. You can't sell that out. You can't do that. Okay, we take that bet. We go all in and we do it. And now they're going to try to do it again with London, but not just doing it in London, because Adam Cole helped sell the announcement and made it even bigger when announcing they're booking Wembley Stadium. You know, SummerSlam 92. Bret Hart and British Bulldog. That fucking match. That SummerSlam. Shawn Michaels and Davey Boy Smith. That SummerSlam. Fucking unreal announcement. Shook the entire wrestling world. The fact that they were going to try to sell a 90+ thousand venue. 90,000 plus can sit inside of Wembley Stadium. And it's the first show, only the second wrestling show that stadium has ever held. First one since 92. And that is a power move to have that announced. I fucking lost my shit. I want to go so bad. I've always wanted to go to the UK regardless. It would be amazing to be able to go there for that. I think it would just genuinely be absolutely outstanding. I don't know if I'll be able to. Honestly, I'm still trying to find a way to find people who are as Showtime gets coming closer and closer to Forbidden Door 2 in Toronto, because that's a little bit more reasonable for me. People are looking to sell tickets closer and closer to Showtime, where I could just buy some from fans who can't go all of a sudden. I'm still trying to make that happen. And now you announce London. I want it so bad, but I can't have it all. And I might, like I said, this one genuinely, I think I'm going to unfortunately miss out on live, but dude, you have no idea how badly I want this. But Floyd, I mean, this announcement is just fucking unreal.
Oh, dude, it was bigger than I thought it could be. I thought they were going to announce the show at the O2 Arena or the Cottage Cove where they are. But I gotta say, this knocks out one of the pay-per-views that I look fondly most on is that SummerSlam from 92, Brett and Davey Boy in the main event. It's one of the shows that I look most fondly on. Then for me personally, my bucket list was to be at the first show in the UK with AEW. Bucket list to be a at the first AEW Stadium show. Bucket list to watch a show in the UK. It not checks so many things off my bucket list. I'm not saying there was no way I can't even that I can't attempt to go. And it's funny when you start looking up everything, dude, hotels in the London area, with the amount of people that we generally have in a room, fairly inexpensive, right? Ticket to the show probably be a couple $100, right? From where I want to sit. Not bad at all. Plane to London, $1,300, $1,400. Now, the plane is the flight there is going to cost more than the rest of the trip by 3 or 4 times. And that's my hesitation. My lease on my house is up at the end of June. So I might be having to move. So I'm just going to have to cross my T's, dot my I's, be very, very cognizant of money, of where we're going to live, that kind of thing. I've discussed it with my wife, and she's like, if we can make it happen, make it happen. I'm going to send my passport. Paperwork was supposed to go in. It's supposed to go in tomorrow. So hopefully my passport can get in by then. There's a lot of ifs, ands, and buts about making this happen. But good Lord, it would be the ultimate bucket list item if I could make it happen. And I even put my tweet and my post on my friend's Facebook, fuck it, I'm going to London. That's how it was. It was fuck it, I'm going. And even before they announced it, I was like, no, I can't go. But when he announced, when they announced Wembley, when they said it was Wembley, I've been talking about him a lot. The 12-year-old kid that lives inside of me that knocks on the door and is like, can I come out? Said, hey, we're going to London. Because that was not feasible to me when I was a child. Leaving the country wasn't feasible. Watching a pay-per-view, ordering a pay-per-view at my parents' house wasn't feasible. All these things were not feasible in my existence, right? Now, I'm a grown-ass man. I got a job. I control the funds. Have an amazing partner. And she's like, fuck it. Let's make it happen. And I said, you know what? Let's make it happen. So if you ever hear me talk about how much I love my wife, that's the main reason. Not because she doesn't say no. Is that she supports me in doing stupid shit like no one else does. You know what I mean? I have friends that wives like, nope, you're not doing that. No, she's like, why not? Let's go. If we could pay our bills, do all that kind of stuff, and still go, definitely go. So we're gonna make this happen. This is historic. And it's genius because it is statistically proven. The first time that you go to a place, that's when it's at its hottest, right? Mm-hmm. Your first stadium show, that's going to be hot. You're going to have people traveling from all across the country to see this, right? If they do 30,000 people in a 90,000 stadium, there are people that are going to say that it's not a good number, but it'll still be 10,000 more people than they've ever had in watching wrestling, right? And let's just say they get 50 to 60,000. Well, let's just say they somehow beat one of the nights of Wrestlemania. That is a selling point to continue on your TV deals and all that stuff. We just put 60,000 people in the stadium. That gets you all that stuff. The business side of it is amazing. I can't wait. This is dream come true. I got so pumped up. I had a hard time going to sleep this morning after my shift. I was so pumped up still about it. Yeah. Well, something else really, really good happened too. So.
Yes. No, there was a lot of, like I said, a lot of really, really good stuff on this show. This was only one of a bunch of things that happened. So again, super hyped for All In London at Wembley fucking Stadium. Me and Floyd are going to damn well try. We'll see if we're going to be able to make it happen. Hopefully at least one of us are able to make it happen. But yeah, it's going to be an outstanding show, I'm sure. And also, want to mention too, because I saw Anthony Bowens tweet this out, because people are asking, it's August 27th. That's only a week before what All Out normally is in Chicago at the Now Arena. So people were like, well, is All Out not happening this year? Because, I mean, like, that's right there. And Anthony Bones was like, nope, still going to happen in Chicago. And I'm like, so they're going to do Wembley Stadium, and then they're going to come back and then do a pay-per-view in Chicago. And I'm just like, what the fuck?
You know, like me, because I'm unstable, I started thinking about, I was like, and I even told Crystal, I was like, I want to do it. And I was like, but there's only one way to do it. And she was like, what's the one way to do it? And I was like, I'm not coming back. Yeah. Like, I'm going to go from London, right? I'm going to watch the show. I'm going to fly home Monday, and I'm just going to fly to Chicago, right? The flight back it'll be the one way to London, and then the flight back will be to Chicago. I will check in a hotel and then work from there for that week, go to All Out, and not come home till Monday. So I will literally be gone for 2 weeks.
Yeah, literally.
Because, I mean, it's really the only option that makes sense. Because coming back to Oklahoma City, working, and then flying back to Chicago is just dumb at that point.
Yeah, you're just going to need to take a 2-week vacation.
Yeah, no, I'm going to work from Chicago. See, that's the whole thing. I work remotely.
Oh, yeah.
I work remotely, so I'll just work from Chicago. It's just I won't be actually at my home until 2 weeks from now. And it's like, if that happens. Okay, for a second here, what's your dream main event for this show?
My dream main event for All In London.
Yeah.
Honestly,
guys, we didn't discuss this, so if he's thinking, it's because I just literally just threw this question at him.
No, yeah, you did. Honestly, I would say my dream match for London would be. See, it sucks because I don't think this would main event, but this is a match that I want for the show. I want Konosuke Takeshita versus Will Ospreay.
That'd be a dope-ass match.
So I'm trying to play into the London crowd a little bit. But in terms of what I want my main event to be, let's say, you know what? Fuck it. This is my main event. My main event is going to be fucking MJF versus Kota Ibushi.
Okay, so my main event is, if you've seen it on there, I called it out, I threw it out there, and I've been talking about this match, and it's going to be happening, and if you're going to do it, this is the place to do it. The first All In, going back to the first All In, the main event.
Was it? Yep, I knew you were going to do this.
Was a 6-man match. It was the Young Bucks and Kota Ibushi versus like Rey Mysterio. I don't even remember all the three that were in it, right? Yeah. There's only one thing we can do. We main event this with a 6-man match. Almost a year to the day from the fallout.
It was Bandito and Phoenix.
Yeah, Bandito and Phoenix and Rey Mysterio. Almost a year to the week of the brawl out at All Out. We get, finally, CM Punk and FTR, CMFTR is what they like to call themselves, versus the Elite. 3-on-3 match, the biggest 3-on-3 match. CM Punk's first match back. I would have him talk, but not do a match. First match back, London, Wembley Stadium, CM Punk and the Young Bucks, CM Punk and FTR versus Kenny and the Bucks. You do that match there, then you do CM Punk versus Kenny and the Young Bucks versus FTR at All Out the next week.
See, that's the thing, is that if I'm being like straight up, like that is the dream, but it's like it's such a dream that's like again, in my head, it's like it's not possible. It's just not possible.
In my head, this is how I think about it, and this is how I explained it to a friend to talking about. If I was talking about a man that hadn't wrestled in 7 years and was sitting at home and had no desire to wrestle again, no idea. This is a dude you're paying not to work right now. You're paying him not to work. He is on your payroll. People want to see him. You have a 90,000 seat stadium to sell out. Why not use him?
Yeah. Honestly, if I'm Punk, I'd be like, look, let's book this match. If we don't sell out, like sell out. I mean, like no seats left, like sell out, like break the SummerSlam record, like SummerSlam attendance numbers. If we don't do it, let me go.
Yeah.
Like put it all on you.
Yeah. And you said MJF versus Kota Ibushi. I said MJF versus Will Ospreay for the AEW title.
I don't know why. I just feel like, I want Will Ospreay to be the heel. That's the thing.
He's not going to be the heel in London.
I get that. Yeah, that's true. That does set up Konosuke for a problem. Yeah, you know what?
He's not going to be the heel there. But guess who would definitely be the heel there? MJF, the biggest heel in the world, really. Versus the hometown boy, Will Ospreay, for the AEW title.
And then while we're at it, fuck it, book Martin Kirby on the show.
Let's go. Let's fucking go. Now, I don't know, dude. I'm like, if you're doing this, throw everything at it.
You have to. I mean, if you're going to try to sell out Wembley, you got to throw everything.
Yeah, throw your WrestleMania show at it. Every British person that's available, you get Trent Seven. You already got Nigel McGuinness on that helped announce this. I'm just like,
shout out.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, do it big. I am excited, and this is one of those things. Like, I fantasy book WWE, all those stuff, all the different companies I've ever followed. I fantasy booked, and very rarely does the show actual equal my fantasy booking. The reason I love AEW so much is every time I fantasy book the show, they end up doing it better than even I thought I could. And dude, I don't, Tony's a fan. So he understands how to book this show, and he understands he'll have a show the next week. So I'm looking forward to it. I am, pun intended, I am all in. So I was at the first All In Chicago. I plan on being the second. I plan on being the second All In London. I plan on having a great time. And yeah, I'm like shaking, like with excitement. And like when they announced it, I got goosebumps.
Like I said, because I saw Nigel, and I'm like, oh, it's gonna be England AEW. That's awesome. I mean, like, it's not as huge as whatever, but I'm like, it's big, absolutely, but it's not huge, you know what I mean? And then they say Wembley, and I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, I'll even say, like I said, I don't do goosebumps. I don't get them. But in that moment, everything in me said, you have to be there for that.
Yeah. And we're going to try. We're going to try our hardest, but yeah, we'll move off of that, though, but it was fucking huge. Now, of course, this episode of Dynamite that we're talking about, took place in shady Long Island. And we opened up with Ricky Starks facing Juice Robinson. And the weird thing about this that caught me off guard was the fact that Ricky was coming out to start off the show. Juice was already in the ring. And I'm like, I know for a fact we're not giving Juice motherfucking Robinson a jobber entrance. Like, we're not doing that. Like, I don't agree with that at all. So I was very, very confused about that. And then, as Ricky's about to get into the ring, I just hear Bullet Club. And there was a guy, I remember. People thought he was showing up the Raw after Mania to feud with Seth. And instead, Seth just stood in the ring while fans sang his entrance theme, and then he walked to the back and went home. Reportedly, even the segment changed while he was in the ring during commercial break. The guy that people thought was debuting was Jay White. But we ain't breathing with the Switchblade in WWE. We're breathing with the Switchblade in AEW. Jay White fucking comes out. Blade Runner on Ricky Starks. Him and Juice Robinson beating the hell. Former Bullet Club team members. And Switchblade is All Elite. Fucking boom. From Jump Street. Already Tony Khan's just like, all y'all who have been led astray, come home. Come to where wrestling lives. First thing we give you, Jay White's in AEW, and he's here to stay, and he's signed, and he's all elite. Very first thing.
With that move, the Dynamite after WrestleMania was already better than the Raw after WrestleMania.
Significantly.
5 minutes in.
Wasn't
Nothing
even
else
that,
happened.
dude. Wasn't even that.
Hey,
it was like 3 minutes.
Yeah, because when AEW doesn't give you a match that was promised, they give you something better.
The only good thing to come from the Raw after WrestleMania was the little nod to Stu. We all love Stu.
So this was big. Signing him was big. I thought he was going to be in the WWE. I did not know this was coming. I audibly yelled the Switchblade era. I messaged Tyler on Twitter and was like, "Are you watching?" Because if y'all don't know, Tyler's favorite wrestlers are Adam Cole and Switchblade Jay White. So I was like, "Are you watching?" in all caps. And it was just like, this was pumped up. And I'm like, oh, it's on. It's on. A message is being sent from the beginning that this is going to be a different night of wrestling. Oh my God. Straight up display. I know Jay White's kind of a polarizing wrestler at times. I'm a fan of his style. I think it's something when you have people working a certain style, it's always good to have somebody that is the antithesis of that. But my only big thing is, in Japan, he's kind of MJF level heel. In AEW, they already got an MJF level heel. So where is he going to slot in? I think Tony will figure it out. But I am ready to breathe with the Switchblade because you know why? It's still his era.
Damn straight. We then had Chris Jericho being interviewed backstage, and he was very upset about Adam Cole saying how you punked out Daniel Garcia in your first match back, so I had to put a stop to it. Jericho then gets interrupted by Keith Lee. Good to see you, man. And he was talking about how me and Adam Cole have been on each other's wrong sides before, but I respect him. But I don't respect Chris Jericho. And maybe next week on Dynamite, I teach you a thing or two about respect as he leans in and Jericho's just backing away. And then he just smirks and then walks off. Thank you for using Keith Lee. I'm very happy to see that he's back. I know a lot of people are not okay with the gray on the beard and the hair.
Floyd is not okay with the gray on the beard.
That was the reason why I brought it up.
I am 6 years older than Keith Lee. He looks older than I am. And and he's like, I'm trying to stop the stigma of gray hair. I'm just like, yeah, that's something you do in your personal life.
Not on television.
Yeah, wrestling's a cosmetic business. Go dye that shit. But again, I mean, the man can do what he wants. You know, he's much bigger than me, and he frightens me if he ever looked at me angrily. But yeah, no, I hate it. I hate it. I'm trying to let it grow on me because I love Keith Lee. There ain't too many people in this world that love Keith Lee that's not related to that man, that more than I do. But damn it. Dye your hair, man. Dye it or shave it. Tap it out. Dye it or tap out. I don't care. Tap out. I tapped out a long time ago. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I'm just excited. I'm just excited to see Chris Jericho wrestle Keith Lee. That's gonna
God, he's gonna make Keith Lee look like $1 billion gajillion bucks.
Absolutely. Moving on, we had the AEW World Trios match for the titles: House of Black versus Best Friends and Orange Cassidy, the AEW International Champions. Sue's back. The biggest return of WrestleMania weekend. We got Sue back in the building.
Dude, soon as Sue rolled up, I was like, oh, they're about to win the titles because it's the power. Sue's pop was just as loud as Jay White's.
Yeah.
That's crazy, right?
The best, dude. I love it. Yeah. People are so excited on the same level of excitement of seeing a former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion and an old lady in a minivan.
Yeah. Yeah, same
This is
level
the
of
best.
excitement. Just as
Like
over.
again, this is the levels to this shit with wrestling.
yeah,
and we love this shit.
Sue could have done a meet and greet and made a whole bunch of money right after
Oh
that
my
show.
god, dude! Do you realize how amazing that image would be? Just lines around fucking like WrestleCon to meet Sue.
Yes, you get to take a picture in the back of the car, like thumbs up. Yes,
Seriously.
done. All right.
But this match was really, really good, honestly, considering that this was our actual first match of the show. Because the whole Ricky Starks Juice Robinson was a ruse. First match of the show, really, really good, honestly. They did some really good stuff. There were points where you definitely thought maybe Orange Cassidy and Best Friends were going to pull it off and come out and win the whole thing. But I got to say, Malachi, Buddy, and Brody are just so big right now with those trios belts, so it makes sense for them to win. I will say, too, when Orange Cassidy and Buddy Matthews were in the ring, and those two can move fast. Like, just their first opening, like, sequence was so fucking fast. Like, you thought you were watching the match at, like, 1.5 speed. So they were moving that fast. But in the end, there was a moment where we had Orange Cassidy hit the orange punch on Brody, and then Trent was about to pin Trent was about to get a pile driver, but then Buddy Matthews comes in, stomps Chuck Taylor. Chuck takes the fall, and Buddy Matthews wins the titles and retains them for the House of Black, remaining on top of the trios division. It was a good match, and I think it did make. I love, first of all, usage of Best Friends, OG AEW tag team, and just being in use, because I don't agree with the idea that the entirety of Best Friends should just be Orange Cassidy. Now, of course, we've had to deal with the injury to Chris Statlander, but I like it when I get to see Chuck and Trent on my TV, so thank you for that.
My big thing is I like that Buddy Matthews got the pin. Because he's kind of he's the third member of the House of Black, and it's just like, you got Brody King.
You kind of got to get him kind of leveled with everybody else.
Yes, and you have to elevate him, and the fact that he got the finish of the match and got the pin, that was good. You could have went with the pop, and Sue came down to celebrate because the Best Friends are like. They've been there since the beginning, right? They've been there since the beginning. And you think about all the teams that have been there since the beginning, as far as the Lucha Bros, and, it was Lucha Bros, them, and Young Bucks were the, first 3 tag teams in the company. And it's like, Young Bucks have had their run. I mean, the Lucha Bros have had their run. The Best Friends haven't. And, so, maybe, I won't say it's time yet because of what we find out later tonight, they're going to have to wait their turn, but yeah, I think that moment, if the Best Friends ever win the title, would be a great moment in AEW.
Yeah, and I think they'll eventually get their due time. I've been shouting for Best Friends to be tag champions for a while. I know they're going to get their chance, but I'm just glad to see them at least in a big match like this on Dynamite, in the first actual match that we got on Dynamite this week, and they did a damn good job. Quick little backstage thing where they showed that Christian Cage and Luchasaurus back as well. So
and if you that seems like they were getting sued about the mask. It looks like the mask is slightly different, and it was red, right?
Yes.
So I think that's how they're going to adjust the whole mask thing of it all. So I'm glad he's back, and it looks like Christian Cage is with him. And, I like that. I like that group. I like Christian Cage. They've used him perfectly in AEW to me, so I want to see what happens with them. Maybe they go after one of the titles, and, Luchasaurus has to, get it.
Yeah, for sure. And then we had the AEW Women's World Championship match between Jamie Hayter and... Actually, is this on here? Hang on a minute. Wait a minute. Oh, no. Wait. Did they? No, they did. Okay. I almost jumped ahead too far.
Okay.
I caught myself. Jamie Hayter versus Riho for the AEW Women's World Championship. Riho has really done a lot to shine in this small little build for this women's title match against Jamie Hayter. Her running down with the goddamn pipe, dude, is the funniest fucking thing. I swear to God, it's amazing, and I love it. And these two also did a really good job on this match. There were points where it kind of got a little bit like I was like, ooh, this could look bad, but they ended up really holding it together. But eventually, what ended up happening was Jamie Hayter, who nearly lost after the flying knees in the corner, but then Jamie Hayter was able to get her foot on the rope, and then that's when Jamie Hayter hit the Haterade, and that would cause her to also hit the ripcord, and then Riho was pinned. It was a solid title defense for Jamie against a former champion. I think it helps build her reign and make it look more efficient, even though I think fans are fully behind Jamie Hayter and her title reign. So I think it's just continuing to be really, really good.
Yeah, really good match, really exciting. Made me believe Rio could pull it off a couple times. Hit the Rainmaker or the Haterade or whatever. Such a good move, especially for her style of wrestling and storytelling. It's a really good move, and she gets the pin over, and it's like, you got 3 women waiting in the back to come at Jamie, so we're gonna see what happens there.
And those 3 women were backstage as Ruby Soho and the Outcasts were there saying, congrats on the title defense, but don't get comfortable because one of us will be AEW Women's World Champ. They were talking to them about only one person can be champion. It's like, we don't care. One of us is going to beat her, and one of us is going to be champion. Because if one of us is champion, all of us is champion. Normally what you get with those sort of things. I just loved also at the end of it, too, with Saraya with the little Outcast thing she was holding, and then she just yells at the camera, buy our shirts. I was just like, I thought that was funny.
And you really should be buying the Outcast shirt. Just throwing that out there.
You should, honestly. The Jericho Appreciation Society were ready to see if the Acclaimed had reached their decision on joining the JAS. And Angelo Parker was like, well, judging by the rap that you just said, which was a diss for sure, he's like, it looks like you want to fight together, which means that's fine because we've got a 4-on-4 8-man tag match on Rampage. And the Acclaimed were just like, the fuck? And they were going to scissor, but then Daddy Ass stopped them, and then the Acclaimed scissored. It was the segment for sure, and it built for an 8-man tag match on Rampage.
Let me tell you, there were two very WWE segments in this show, and that was one of them.
This was it, yeah.
Yes, there was one more, but I think the person did it so brilliantly that, that bidding war of 2024, that's going to be a thing.
Well, speaking of which, that leads in directly to AEW World Champion MJF. Now, he had recently gotten in his hometown of Long Island, it decreed and received the key to Long Island. And that April 5th will forever be known in the city of Long Island as MJF Day. There was a big full-on horns and strings band and all that kind of stuff playing out MJF to the ring. And there's a moment where he literally sings just Pennies from Heaven, which got the crowd to sing Shooby Dooby, which I was crying when I heard a wrestling crowd sing Shooby Dooby. I was just like, what on the world? A great rendition of the song. FM got presented by a brand new key to Long Island that was more gaudy and everything like that. And also, too, I can't remember if it was the mayor of Long Island or whatever the hell his title was, but he was getting booed. And I think the thing they were chanting, they chanted lower taxes at him, which I think is hysterical. It's like, even in wrestling, politicians will never get cheered. Never.
Absolutely. All this segment did to me was prove one thing, that MJF is the ultimate entertainer. It's just like,
absolutely.
It's like, dude, if I was WWE, the number that I offered him would be comical because he can do everything that they generally ask people in the WWE to do.
Oh my god, dude! The fact that the segment literally leads to him about to do another song, and then there's a person who does the cymbals crash. He's like, on my tempo. I'm like, okay, J.K. Simmons. and he's like literally screaming at him, and he turns around, he's about to go ahead, takes off the Simple Man takes off all of his glasses and hat, and it's Jungle Boy Jack Perry disguised, and he comes out and he jumps on MJF, and they start fighting and fighting and fighting until they have to be pulled apart, and that's when Sammy Guevara comes out, and the AEW title is in the middle of both of MJF and Jack Perry, and Sammy Guevara, trying to get a little bit of heat in this feud for himself, takes the belt, holds it in both of their faces, and then goes to fight Commander, where he beats him, and we'll talk about Sammy's promo afterwards. But yeah, this MJF segment was just class. Honestly, it was really strong, and I mean, yeah, this was by far the most sports entertaining segment of the show. But this was done so well, you can't even argue.
This reminded me very much when WWE was good. Like this was a WWE segment. It was like it had a guy singing with a full band and making fun of people and going back to a different song, and it had a guy dressed up as someone that he wasn't. Like at the moment, as soon as you saw the symbol club, you're like, "Oh, that's Jack Perry," and then it led. And this is another thing that then it leads right into the match. It puts the attention right back where it's supposed to be. It's on the wrestling. Sammy's about to have a wrestling match. Like, you got this big hunk of entertainment, and then he's like, oh, these guys are about to have a wrestling match. And it led to it, and it featured Sammy in that moment, because this is how you build to a fatal four-way. Then they even showed Darby up in the rafters, just like detached, just watching all the stupid shit go down. I just thought this, there's obviously one segment that's my favorite segment of the night. This would be number 2, though. This night, there was nothing that was going to be of number 1 other than what we get to. But this was an amazing segment.
Yeah, it was unreal levels of good. Like I said, Sammy Guevara faced Commander, and he was able to beat him in a quick little match. It wasn't too quick, but I mean, it was quick enough. And then Sammy Guevara cut a promo afterwards, basically saying, I just did something the world champion doesn't do, which is wrestle. Because what the hell was that, American Idol? And he said, you come out and say you beat every one of the pillars, but let's be honest, when you and I got in the ring, I had you beat until someone else came out and helped you. You didn't beat me. Sean Spears in a steel chair beat me. He said, you know what? I'm jealous because you manipulated your way to the top. I'm almost jealous of it, but you were Cody's friend and then you're not. You were Tony's friend and then you're not. You were in the inner circle and then you're not. You were in the pinnacle, then you're not. You were in the firm and then you're not. He's like, you sold your soul to get where you were. I built my pillar brick by brick, put my heart and soul into this. Boo me, cheer me. I'm not going anywhere because I love AEW and I'm not using this place to go somewhere else. He said, I main evented pay-per-views. I met my wife here. Screw Darby Allin, screw Jungle Boy, screw MJF. Nice little moment to get Sammy, because Sammy really was the one that had the least amount of heat coming into this little possible 4-way that they're going to do. And this definitely helped him, I think, gain a little leg on getting some hype going into this for sure 4-way. Because Jungle Boy had it, Darby definitely had it, and MJF, of course, had it. So I think this definitely helped Sammy's position in this match, just to give him a little bit more. So I think it helped a lot.
Yeah, because, it was like, when you looked at it, it's like, why is he here? And now...
other than the fact that he's a pillar, yeah.
I mean, he's a pillar, but he doesn't win a lot, and they've done a good job of getting him some dubs, so it's like, oh, we're going to, if they're going to build to this fatal 4-way, it's got to make sense, because honestly, unfortunately, because of how good they are, AEW is held to that standard that it has to make sense, so giving Sammy all these wins, featuring all of them, having them all attack MJF, and, we're going to get to that point.
Yes. The FTW Championship was held and defended by Hook against Ethan Page. About that. So Ethan Page went for the Twist of Fate, but then got countered by another Twist of Fate, actually by Hook. Isaiah Cassidy tries to distract. Ethan Page tries to grab the title belt and use it, but Matt Hardy refuses to let him use it, pulls it away from him, and actually hits him in the face with the title. And then Red Rum on Ethan Page. Ref stops the match. Hook retains, and then Hook fist bumps Matt Hardy and Isaiah Cassidy after the match, while Ethan Page is just like, I thought we were friends. And this was kind of there, honestly, for me. This was just there.
This existed.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I really don't have anything to say because, honestly, it's all built on, Matt Hardy getting him to sign a contract, and it's like we don't know what the contract says. So until we have the extra piece of information, we don't know what the segment really was. It was just another Hook win right now.
Yeah. And after this, the Blackpool Combat Club beat up 3 nobodies. And afterwards, Hangman Adam Page comes down, but he gets beaten up by the BCC. And Danielson just starts screaming about how he's an amateur. And those 3, Yuta, even though he can be a prick sometimes, Claudio, Moxley, and himself were the only professional wrestlers, like pro wrestlers in this building, only pro wrestlers in this company. Hell, after what I've seen this week, we're the only professional wrestlers, real professional wrestlers in all of damn America. And he said this house that AEW has needs to be fixed from all these amateurs. He kept screaming it and screaming it and screaming it. And then he had a screwdriver, smashed it, and dug it into Hangman's eye. Looks like he might be going the Moxley route with an eye patch. And Danielson and the Blackpool Combat Club continue to look just vicious as they get another one over Hangman. Good little segment, honestly. I loved how Danielson just took a shot, and I love how he's just vicious as a heel. Absolutely vicious.
This is
and
how
BCC,
this is how you build a heel faction. This
Absolutely.
is how they have to be dominant. If they are not dominant for a certain amount of time, it's just terrible, right? I've heard on the Dak show, he talked about the Pinnacle. It was like, they debuted and they beat up to the other team. And then the next week they got beat up again. And it was just like, and he felt like that's where it started going wrong. And the BCC, people learn from their mistakes. They have taken out the Young Bucks. They have taken out Hangman. They will probably take out Kenny. And this is building them up as a true threat, as the number 1 heel faction in AEW.
Yeah, no question about that. And then, main event. AEW World Tag Titles versus FTR's AEW Careers. The Guns, the AEW Tag Team Champions versus Cash Wheeler, Dax Harwood, FTR. Only thing I want to say on this match, first of all, was it was a fucking power move for goddamn Austin and Colton to come out to Many Men Wish Death by 50 Cent. That right there, I was like, oh my God. Because I was waiting for that thing because I'm like, I know the Guns have improved significantly. And I was like, I know, like, they're obviously Billy's sons. They're obviously entertaining. And their little moment that they had at the FTR show over WrestleMania weekend was also special. I thought that was good too. I thought they did a good job there. But I was like, what's that thing that's going to happen that's going to make me just be like, you know what? I get it. And this is it. Just getting 50 Cent Many Men as your walkout song, which probably cost a shitload of money, probably more so than any of the other songs that AEW and Tony Khan have licensed. This probably cost the most if I had to wager. And the way the entrance was shot, the way that it came out, the way that there was basically no lights other than the basic Titantron. There was no other special lights or pyro. It was just that and the lights. I was just, I just had to gush about that. I don't want to talk much about this match because this is his boys. So I want to pass this off to
Okay,
Floyd.
so let me just say early 2000s Floyd with the Mini Men. He popped hard. I remember, so Saturday I did the photo out with the Guns because I've literally got a photo out with everyone that's held the AEW Tag Team belts except them. So except them and FTR. FTR actually only held the belts during the pandemic. They didn't do any meet and greets while being the champion. So there you go. So I got Austin, and I was like, hey man, don't beat up my boys. And he's like, you don't want them to go to the E? And I'm like, hell no. He's like, we do. And then they made me laugh. And I've talked about it. We've bowled on a bowling team, and I'm very familiar with them. They're and they're really nice to me all the time. I know I hate that destroys their character that they're two really nice dudes, and like no reason. They're just pleasant people, and so I got the picture with them, and I was like, man, my bowling partners against the greatest tag team ever, and yeah, many men, dude. I actually, like, when I worked out today, I turned that on first, like, before my playlist kicked in, just because that song is just, like, it's just so hard. And then how they had the spotlight, and they were just standing there with their pose, I'm like, dude. Because I love the Guns. I didn't think they were there yet to be the champions, but, they grew into the role. And I think the next time they win the titles, whenever that is, they're going to be good enough to get there because they're going to work with FTR and they're going to work with the Young Bucks. Because they've been positioned as former tag team champions, so they're going to work with the better teams, and you're going to see them, and then they'll probably be that team. I could see them in Top Flight once healthy, feuding for years. You know what I mean? I think they could be that main heel tag team in AEW. So I wanted to give that shout out to them because I do truly like Colton and Austin. I mean, I do not love them as much as I love FTR, but I truly love Colton and Austin. I just think they were built for this. I mean, they have the look. I mean, they have the name. They have everything. So there you go. Match starts, and they are crowds crazy. They are behind FTR. I hadn't heard a crowd like that since Sunday. No shots. I believe Cash started off the match. Dude, so many false finishes. The roll-ups, the hit when Dax went off the top. Dax went off the top rope, and Austin took the belt. And Dax landed on the perfect heel move. Like, that's how if the heels are going to win, that's how the match is supposed to end right there. And then Dax kicks out. And it was just like that desperation of this. Like, I felt like the story perfectly told the desperation. If they didn't win, they would have to leave, right? But also, you always believed the Guns could win. And I thought that was the perfect way to tell the story. And they were really kind of on the FTR's level. They almost hit their FTR-like move. I forgot, what do they call it? It ain't the 310 to Yuma. I forgot what they called it. But the Guns finisher where they elevate them and then hit that flatliner. It is a pretty cool move. They threw everything at him. The FTR hit the spike pile driver. I think they even hit the shatter machine at one point. Every time the Guns were there, every time the Guns were supposed to be, and then there was this rule that the Guns, if they got DQ'd, FTR still didn't win the belt, so they still had to leave. So they nutshot him. And then the referee, and he has this moment, and he's like, and then they try another thing, and the referee doesn't see suspension. But the moment of the match to me was he does the clean nut shot on Dax, right? And the referee's going to call the bell, and Cash literally grabs his hand. Like, that only means something in wrestling. It's like, dude, he put his hand up. The DQ's there, you know what I mean? It only means something in wrestling where you can stop a man's hand, and that means the DQ didn't count. And he's like, please don't call the DQ. And they didn't. Roll up. I honestly can say this. I like my wrestling a little sloppy. Makes it look more real, right? The end, great moment. Crowd popped. Our crowd was excited. This was the moment. But I was not a fan of how the roll-up looked. It looked loose. You know what I mean? I know this is only expert talking. I'm not that. I'm just saying, as a fan, I'm looking at it, and it just looked like, they could have easily rolled out of it. You know what I mean? I don't know, Austin, whatever.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, it looked loose, but they got the 3. Crowd went crazy. They had the belts. They had the streamers, which I'm loving. They've brought back, and they're in the FTR rainbow colors, and they're excited. And even Jackie sent me a picture. Cash found her in the crowd and gave her a big hug. That in FTR was your 2.
We also had Mark Briscoe show up too.
Yeah, it was like FTR times 2, FTR times 10, because they're 2 times AEW Tag Team Champions, and now they are the 10-time World Champions around the world. Mark Briscoe comes out and hugs them because, I feel like he's like the honorary 3rd member of FTR at this point. So he comes out and hugs them and celebrates with them. Dax gets on the mic, basically, puts Tony Khan over, tells him how awesome Tony Khan is, and thank him for having a job and all that kind of stuff. And it was great. And yeah, FTR's back. I'm very happy. Very happy. I'm going to throw this out there because I said it. Sunday night, sports entertainment broke my heart. Wednesday night, pro wrestling fixed it. And I don't have to worry about sports entertainment breaking it again because I'm going to be sticking with pro wrestling. This boy is home now. And this was the match that reminded me why I love AEW. It was the moment it was built to. It was the main event. Everything was done to let you know it could go either way. They went with the right way. The tag team division is like solidified with one of the 2 best tag teams in the company as your tag team champs. Yeah, there's nothing I can add. This was perfect. This episode was perfect. I don't even use that much. But this episode was perfect. Everything worked going from the segment to the segment. Even the segment I didn't like, for the flow of the show worked together. And yeah, we now live in the FTR. And I said for today only. And as you'll see as the title of this show, FTR stands for Finally They Reign.
Yes.
Because they are your tag team champions. And I am really upset that I couldn't be there. But I am really happy that it did happen. I'm really happy Jackie was there. Honestly, it did. Like I even said, it felt like I was there because she was there because she shares that passion for FTR, and she's tight with them. She shares the passion, so it felt like I was there. And shout out to them. They got new shirts out. Another shirt on Shop AEW says FTR, has kind of the rainbow motif. It looks great. And then they have on Pro Wrestling Tees, they have the FTR 10 times, and it has 10. It's black and white. It has 10 stars, and it has the date of every time they've won a title. So the last time they were the champions in WWE was on June 10th, 2019. Why is June 10th special? Do you know why that's special, Austin? June 10th?
I do, but I want you to say why.
It's my birthday. So one of my birthdays forever immortalized on an FTR shirt. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, you should buy the shirt, and you should buy the shirt. And keep buying all the shirts because they're my boys. They're the guys. Oh my God, they fixed me. Like, dude, like, even my wife's like, why are you in such a good mood today? It's just like, Sunday didn't happen anymore. I'm good.
Yep.
I mean, Sunday's gone. Sunday, I've moved on from Sunday. And even on like Monday, I said on to Wednesday because I knew Wednesday would fix my mood. I knew it. Even though FTR not winning, I knew Wednesday would fix my mood because AEW does pro wrestling, and I enjoy pro wrestling.
There you go. And yes, that stellar tag team main event, FTR regaining the AEW Tag Team Champions and staying with AEW, is how we closed out this outstanding Dynamite after WrestleMania. And it was just what we needed after, like Floyd said, sports entertainment did what it does and broke your heart.
Yeah. So, LI represent, baby.
Yes. Now, We have some previews for AEW Rampage and Battle of the Belts, which will be taking place in Providence, Rhode Island. We have those that'll be going back to back. Actually, they'll be airing. First up, for Rampage, we have Darby Allin versus Lee Moriarty. The Acclaimed in 2.0 for the JAS. They're going to be an 8-man action. We don't know who they're facing. And JAS will be facing Julia Hart. I'm honestly stoked for that match. I think this could be a really good one. Hook versus Ethan Page. They're going to have another FTW title match, but this will be under FTW rules, which, ECW style.
Yeah, that means falls count anywhere. Pinfall submission, no DQ. But everybody's banned from ringside. So it's just Ethan Page and Hook.
Yes. So that'll be happening. Swerve Strickland will be making an announcement. And then we're going to have a sit down between Jade Cargill and Taya Valkyrie. For Battle of the Belt side of things, the TBS Championship will be on the line as Jade Cargill defends against Billy Starks. The Ring of Honor tag titles will be defended between Powerhouse Hobbs and QT Marshall and the Lucha Bros, who recently won them at Supercard of Honor. And then we have Orange Cassidy defending his international championship as he faces Dralistico.
All I'm going to say, solid lineup, but let's just say I wasn't the crazy fan that I am. I'm going to bed. I'll watch it in the morning. I mean,
honestly, there's
nothing,
just been so much wrestling.
Yeah, there's nothing on this list that was like, man, I need to stay up and watch that live. I'm like, that's no insult to anyone. I love Jay Cargill, love the Lucha Bros, but I can pretty much turn off the internet, go to sleep, and wake up in the morning and watch this. It's like when you have Battle of the Belts, right? Which I remember Clash of the Champions was my thing, and it's just like, I feel like you need a bigger name, maybe an MJF title defense. Even if it doesn't even make all the sense, maybe he does the challenger thing. But I just felt like you could do better. Lucha Bros, Hobbs and QT. Do you think Hobbs? Let's go through this. Do you think Billy Starks can beat Jay Cargill? It's gonna be Jay Cargill, right? Do you think Hobbs and QT is gonna beat the Lucha Bros?
No.
Do you think Dralistico is gonna beat Orange Cassidy?
No.
Okay, why am I watching the show?
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I have 3 predictable matches. I'm like, why? 3 matches, basically no build. You just threw them on there. And every match doesn't need a story. I'm not that kind of person. But I'm saying, if you're calling this a special Battle of the Belts, why do I care that you're putting on a special if I mean, this is just a really good dark. Yeah. Because everybody that's going to win the match. I'm like, I am proclivity for positivity, but I'm just saying, I'm not thinking about me. I watch literally everything AEW puts out. I watch Dark every week. I watch Elevation every week. What I'm trying to put myself in my friend Jason's shoes. I always call his name because he's a casual fan. He just happens to be friends with someone that's a hardcore fan. He's not staying up for this. Just not. Yeah. He's going to see the list, and he's like, I may catch it in the morning. And right. I think your job is to draw people that normally wouldn't watch in to watch, and I don't think any of these matches do that.
Yeah. So, yeah, but those are the matches, though, for Rampage and Battle of the Belts. Should be strong, even though, it's kind of not worth the live watch right now. DVR it or watch it off of YouTube and then call it a day.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm going to get up Saturday morning. I'm going to knock it out, take me some notes to see what happens, but it's just like, yeah, you can do better. You can do better.
For sure. But they've already given us an outstanding Dynamite, so we're being greedy. But at the same time, you can still do better, I will say, full-heartedly. But still an amazing Dynamite to have us for this WrestleMania post-weekend. But that is going to do it, I think, for this episode of All Things Elite. We've pretty much gotten to everything. But, again, thank you so much for you guys listening. We want to make sure you guys continue to download this fine show on Google or Apple Podcasts. If you listen to us on Spotify, wherever you choose to listen to us, give us a share with your friends, family, coworkers, whoever you wish. You can also leave a rating and a review and follow us on Twitter. We are at AT Elite Pod on Twitter, at Social Suplex are the guys that make this show possible, and check out all the other shows they have on their network. You won't be disappointed. I am at Austin Sumowitz, SZUMOWICZ. Floyd is at Floyd Johnson Jr. at Twitter. And I will now let my man, who I know has gone through all the range of emotions, all the highs and lows that this amazing thing called pro wrestling can provide you with. And I will let him take us home for this episode of All Things Elite.
I'm going to end the show the way I rarely do. I'm actually going to end the show with a tweet that I sent out because I just think it's important this week. As I see it, you only have two commodities when it comes to hobbies: your time and your money. If there's something you don't like, if you something you don't like, stop spending your time and your money on it. Spending your time, money on something you don't like is a waste of both. There are other things. I say that as somebody that was heartbroken and somebody that was kind of fixed later in that week, that you sometimes, maybe every year, every 6 months, you take stock into what you're putting your money in. Take stock into what you're putting your time in, and make sure you're getting out of it what you're putting into it, whether it's entertainment, whether it's progress, whatever it is. Just make sure you are spending both your time and money in a way that brings you joy. So I will say that. Find your joy. And I will leave you how I always leave you. Whether it is home, work, or school, always do your best to be elite.